So, what exactly is SMOGON style battling? Hey guys, what is going on? Sir Squire here, and welcome to another Pokemon Sun and Moon competitive battling tutorial for you guys. If you're enjoying the series, please consider hitting the thumbs up button for me down below. Really helps the channel grow, and I really appreciate it. If you have any questions, definitely just, head to drop a comment, and I'll answer them. And if I don't know the answer, I'm sure someone else here will, because there's a lot of really good competitive battlers that check out this series, that hang out with me on a daily, and we could talk about it and help you get to the place you need to be. And if you really like this series, hit that subscribe button down below, because I upload at least 2 of these a week. So the more support I get, the more of these I'll upload a week. Simple as that. So that being said, what is SMOGON style battling? I've been talking about it a lot in my competitive tutorials. It's been basically the basis of my tutorials because it's the format I'm the most comfortable with. If you watch most battles on YouTube, they fall under SMOGON style, and it's definitely the more popular version as far as one-on-one style goes. It's the most popular. SMOGON is a fan-run community. It is a community-driven thing. It is run by the fans, run by all of us, and the way that it works is they have this website called Pokemon Showdown, and I will be doing a tutorial on that soon, so do not worry if you don't know what Pokemon Showdown is, if you don't know where to find it, if you don't know anything about it. Don't worry, I'm going to do a tutorial on that too. So, that being said, what we're talking about today is SMOGON, how it works, how they tier Pokemon, and how you can tell what tier they're in. Well, I'm going to answer the last part of that first. If you want to know what tier your Pokemon is in, all you need to do is Google that Pokemon name. So let's say we're talking about Frostlass, for example, right? So if you Google Frostlass, you just need to look for the link that goes to smogon.com. It should be probably one of the first 5 links that you see should be from SMOGON. You go to that link and it will tell you what tier your Pokemon's in. Now those tiers are going to be anything from Ubers to OU to BL to UU to NU to RU to LC to any of those things. It's they're 2-letter connotations, and they go together, and they stand for things. OU stands for overused, UU stands for underused, BL stands for borderline, NU stands for never used. It goes on. LC stands for little cup. That's basically the gist. And they're a ladder system. They're a tier. So one goes over the other, over the other, over the other. In the beginning of the Sun and Moon metagame, like right now, everything is OU. Everything under the sun. Until proven otherwise. If things were banned from OU previously, for the most part, they all get unbanned and go back into the pool, because you never know what new counters there are for certain Pokemon. And the way that it works is from overused, everything kind of drops and raises. So there are certain Pokemon that almost immediately got banned from OU. And that does not mean that you can't use them. It just means that they're in a higher tier than OU. So in this tier from OU, it's called Ubers. And Ubers are where all the legendary Pokemon sit. That's where like Ho-Oh, Lugia, Mewtwo, Palkia, Dialga, all those guys. That's where they all sit in this upper echelon of SMOGON. And you can still use them, and you can use them in a fair fight against other legends. Now, does that mean that you cannot take an Espeon into Ubers? You absolutely can. You can take any Pokemon from a lower tier up to a higher tier, but you cannot take a Pokemon from a higher tier to a lower tier. So you can't take a Dialga to an OU match. You can't take a Pokemon that's in the OU tier to a Pokemon that's in the UU tier. And what's really cool is that if you get into SMOGON now, you actually get to witness these tiers getting made, because at this point, the UU tier hasn't materialized. Once the UU tier materializes, that's when the tier below UU will materialize. And that's going to take probably a couple of weeks to a month for UU to fully materialize as its own tier. And that's just because for the first month, people are trying to figure out which Pokemon are super good, which Pokemon are super bad in this format of Pokemon. So Z-moves definitely make Pokemon a little bit more viable. There are Mega Evolutions that will always keep certain Pokemon a little more viable. There's definitely some factors in keeping SMOGON stuff going. Now, the way that Pokemon Showdown comes into play with this is Pokemon Showdown is a monitor that helps them realize which Pokemon are broken, which Pokemon are being used more, which Pokemon are being used less, and it helps them figure out which Pokemon need to be dropped or raised to be better competitively viable. So, if a Pokemon like Aegislash turns out to be broken in standard competitive because no one can really counter it, then it gets banned to a higher tier. It gets banned to Ubers. And now Aegislash is on the tier with all of the legendary Pokemon. And that's just going to stay there forever. Like until the end of 7th gen. Like it's there. That's it. It can be unbanned, but it's very rare for a Pokemon to be unbanned from Ubers. Especially when they're banned in that tier. In that time. You know what I'm saying? So it's definitely a little harder to justify an unban. So for the most part, Aegislash will be banned to Ubers until the end of this game, probably for at least a year, until like the next game comes out, but probably even longer than that. So that's basically how they do it, and people go on their forums and they pitch cases as to why Pokemon should be banned or why Pokemon should be tested to see if there's available counters. And this goes on for a very long time. This goes on pretty much for the entire life of the metagame. As a matter of fact, the week before Pokemon Sun and Moon came out, they were suspect testing Mega Sableye to see if it needed to be banned. By suspect testing, it means that they wanted you to test Mega Sableye to see if it can be countered. And people would run teams with Mega Sableye, and you would try to run a team to beat it, and if you couldn't beat it, it proved that Mega Sableye needed to be banned to Ubers. So they were actually planning on banning Mega Sableye before Sun and Moon came out. Like a week before, they were banning the next Pokemon. So it's something that never, ever ends. It's always going to happen, and it's definitely a cool part of the process to be in, especially when you go around and actually build a Smogon team. You can actually build a Smogon team in your game. The only thing you need to do is when you Wi-Fi battle someone, you need to make sure that they agree to battle in the same tier as you, to follow Smogon rules, and you can have a full Smogon battle in your game. For the most part, you need to really know someone to do that. You can have any Pokemon battle that's under Smogon rules in PokemonShowdown.com, or whatever the website is, whatever, you get it. But that's basically, it's really easy to have a Smogon battle. It's almost easier to have a Smogon battle than it is a VGC battle. But you can have VGC battles on PokemonShowdown.com too. So they make it very easy for you to follow any tier. But basically, that's the thing you need to know. It's 6-on-6, singles, and it's tiered. So that means that in the future, when all these tiers get established, and you'll see this really big tier hierarchy of things, that does not mean, if your favorite Pokemon is at a lower tier, that does not mean it's bad. What it means is that it's in a tier where it will be the most competitive. That's the tier where it's the most useful. That's why it's there. So, you know, my favorite Pokemon is Umbreon. If Umbreon's not an OU, I'm not going to be mad, because Umbreon has big holes that maybe there's other Pokemon that play a better role than him. So you need to kind of understand the reasons why Pokemon are in certain tiers, because, you know, maybe Mega Aggron is a great wall, which is something walls are something I talked about in my last video, but maybe Heatran is even better than Mega Aggron, or Ferrothorn, and those Pokemon are going to be in OU, while Mega Aggron sits down in UU. And now, I don't even know if this is going to be the case, but I'm just using that as an example of, you know, there are really good Pokemon that sometimes get sent to lower tiers because there's Pokemon that play better roles than them in a higher tier. So I wouldn't worry too much about it, but it's really important to understand which Pokemon are in your tier and which tier you prefer to play in, because different tiers have different play styles depending on what Pokemon are in those tiers. For example, normally OU is very hyper offensive, and that's because all of the offensive threats, for the most part, are in OU. Even if there's really good walls in OU, which there normally are very good walls in OU, there's also very good wall breakers in OU that can get through those walls pretty easily. So it's definitely all about building a team with type coverage. You do not know what kind of team you're facing. And one of the difficult things about Smogon rules is people get very creative, and you have a very hard time with actually creating a team that covers all your bases. So it's very important when you build a team for a SMOGON battle that you build one that is as diverse as possible, that covers as many top tier threats as you can, because you don't know what you're facing, and every time around you could be facing something totally different. And it's very different from VGC, and I will explain VGC in the next episode in a little bit more detail. But if you have any more questions about SMOGON, please let me know in the comment section. But I just wanted to gloss over what tiers were, if you were confused about it, and the tier order you could see on the screen. I've been showing it for a while. I've been showing a couple of different tier orders. So, like I said, it's not something that I would say is really easy to learn, but it's something that you can pick up fairly easily with practice. Like anything else in Pokemon, the more you use certain tiers, the more you understand how they work, the more you understand what's in them, the better off you're going to be. So that's where I'm going to leave it for today, guys. If you have any more questions about tiers, any questions about SMOGON, how it works, anything like that, let me know. I'll be more than happy to get back to you and answer any questions you have. But until then, guys, I'm going to get out of here. Have a great day, and I'll see you around.